What do a Western outlaw, a private investigator, and a small-town sheriff all have in common? If you were to take a look back at the Hollywood blockbusters of the 60s and 70s, the answer would be Lonny Chapman. With a thick, oaky accent, an infectiously warm presence, and a level of utility rivaling that of a Swiss Army knife, the Hollywood star of Joplin, Missouri led a life of extraordinary achievement and lasting community impact. Born in Tulsa, Oklahoma on October 1, 1920, Lonny Chapman would spend his adolescence here in Joplin, Missouri, graduating from Joplin High School in 1938. In 1940, Chapman graduated from the newly established Joplin Junior College, which would go on to become the more familiar Missouri Southern State College in 1972. As a young man, Lonny was both academically and athletically gifted. His skills would allow him to attend the University of Oklahoma with a track scholarship. Unfortunately for Chapman, a rather unanticipated turn of events in the Pacific would lead him to apply his talents elsewhere. The very next day after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, Lonny Chapman joined the United States Marine Corps, feeling a need to serve his country in the conflict that would spiral into World War II. During his 5-year tour of duty, Chapman would serve in the South Pacific, encountering major action in the Guadalcanal campaign, a pivotal military exchange and turning point in the battle for the Pacific. Additionally, Lonny married Irma Dean Gibbons, another Joplin resident, in 1944. Thankfully, Lonny would safely return home from his service, albeit with a troublesome case of malaria that would flare up every now and then throughout the rest of his life. Finding himself back at the University of Oklahoma to continue his education, Chapman fell upon an intriguing opportunity. Originally, Lonny was only interested in athletics, saying, quote, "I was a track man. I was going to be a coach. Then I answered an ad in the liberal arts building for some tryouts, auditions, because they didn't have that many men in the drama department. I went over and auditioned, and they gave me the leading role." Deep in central Oklahoma, Chapman might have found things rather lonely, had it not been for fellow track star and drama student Dennis Weaver. Weaver, also a Joplin native, had taken a very similar path of education, also graduating from Joplin High School, Joplin Junior College, and serving his country in World War II before finding himself at the University of Oklahoma. Dennis maintained a passion for acting, but spent much of his focus on athletics, setting records in several events and narrowly missing qualification for the U.S. Olympic team in the decathlon. After this, Chapman, who had previously graduated with a Bachelor's of Fine Arts in Drama in 1947, made the newly graduated Dennis Weaver an offer that would go on to completely alter the trajectory of the two Joplinites' lives: hitchhike to New York City and try their hand at a professional acting career. And that is exactly what the two best friends would do.
Off to a very good start, Chapman had earned himself a spot in the Actors Studio working on Broadway productions in only a year. Lonny's big break would come in 1950 in the Broadway production Come Back, Little Sheba by William Inge. Chapman co-starred as the second lead role, a college student and star athlete named Turk. Dennis Weaver eventually became Chapman's understudy for this role, further strengthening the two bright actors' bonds. After about a year, Chapman went on to star in 12 more Broadway shows, in The Chase and The Traveling Lady. Lonny starred alongside Kim Stanley, who he describes as a great actress. Being on stage with her was the greatest experience I ever had. I don't know of any actress in this business that I enjoyed working with more. Other notable shows include William Saroyan's The Time of Your Life and The Glass Menagerie. By this point, Chapman had already been establishing himself with numerous television roles, his debut coming in a 1949 live broadcast of Captain Video and his Cartoon Rangers, a bizarre science fiction series proving to be one of the pivotal pioneers of its genre. Later in the 60s, after collecting numerous television roles, Lonny would appear in some of his better-known detective roles, such as Jeff Pryor in The Investigator and Frank Malloy in For the People.
Sure, you got beef, but that's today. Tomorrow, next week, you may need it. But you're not only impractical, you're stubborn. How do you think you got luck?
The druggist called a cop, that's all.
Sure he did. But before you go knocking the press, maybe you ought to remember why that druggist was looking for someone asking for insulin without a prescription. Do you think a little birdie whispered it to him?
Chapman's first film role would come in 1954 with the Doris Day and Frank Sinatra drama, Young at Heart.
Oh, pretty music. Oh, but pretty. Fix the sink. Yes, sir.
Shortly following, Chapman would also star in the classic John Steinbeck film, East of Eden.
This here's the ignition key. You mind putting out that cigarette, please? Turn this doohickey here to the left. That puts her on battery. See where it says bat?
Oh, yes. Bat, short for battery.
That's right. Good boy.
Thank you very much.
First, you gotta retard the spark. Because if you don't retire the spark, she'll probably kick your blasted arm.
Oh, now remember that.
Now, this here is a spark. Push her way up.
And Elia Kazan's baby doll. From 1956 to 1961, Lonny Chapman not only worked tirelessly as an actor, but he also taught acting in New York. On the creative side, Lonny Chapman also produced 2 plays off Broadway, The Buffalo Skinner and Cry of the Raindrop. Eventually, after a prosperous career in New York, Chapman wanted to further pursue film and television opportunities, leading him to move to Los Angeles in the early 60s. Though he wanted to devote more of his efforts to on-screen roles, his love for theater never ceased. After helping found a local branch of the Actors Studio in Los Angeles, he would hear from a friend of a group of 13 actors calling themselves Group that had converted a laundromat into a tiny theater in 1972. Chapman, incredibly impressed by this organization, offered his services as an artistic director, but would soon be realized as a match made in heaven. Called the Group Repertory Theater, this non-profit theater would host more than 350 productions and over 45 world premieres of original works under Chapman's lead as artistic director. Apart from his ongoing service to the theater scene, Chapman would dive deep into his trademark, earthy blue-collar roles in many westerns, small-town dramas, and crime flicks during his time in LA, appearing in what would seem like every television series under the sun via small guest roles. Lonny would garner supporting roles in classics including Gunsmoke, McCloud, both including Dennis Weaver, Mission Impossible, The A-Team, Matlock, NYPD Blue, Murder, She Wrote, and countless others. When it came to Hollywood films, Chapman would be no stranger, starring in blockbusters such as The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock,
You don't seem to understand. This young lady said there was an attack on the school. Impossible.
Oh, Mitch? Oh, I'm glad I caught you. Something terrible is
It's the end of the world.
2 Bloody Marys, Deke. What actually happened at the school?
A bunch of crows attacked the school kids. It's the end of the world.
I hardly think a few birds are going to bring about the end of the world.
These weren't a few birds.
I didn't know there were many crows in Bodega Bay this time of year. I think they're going.
We can get Kathy at Annie's now.
The Reavers by Lonny's friend, Mark Rydell,
Being a bit too lively this morning, Bode. We'll take this matter off the streets.
Quiet. I've had my fill of both of you. For 20 years, you've been standing in front of me on this strip of cotton, unwashed and unrepentant. Did any man ever inherit a more ill-assorted pair?
Well, what was he doing out joyriding in my car?
Your car, Boo?
Well, the family car.
Norma Ray,
There. Where?
You can't copy this letter.
It's up on the bulletin board. I'm going to copy it.
Norma, you better not.
I'm going to take down every word of this letter.
and Woody Allen's classic comedy, Take the Money and Run.
Each member of the gang gets 5 years for his part in the crime. Virgil gets 10.
See that field? If we make it across that field, we'd be out of here. We could take them by surprise if we all suddenly made a break for it.
You're crazy.
That's right. I'm a paranoid schizophrenic, but I say we try it. Ain't that right, boys? Okay.
Right.
I'm not with them. I want to stay. All right, everybody split up.
During the sunset of his career, he would play older, sometimes eerie characters in films such as Night Watch.
There's nothing to be afraid of, but I think it'd be a good thing to have.
And The Hunted.
Who wants it? Oh, I have something for you.
You live with me.
You know where he lives?
People keep themselves around here.
In honor of the extraordinary actor, teacher, producer, and director, the Group Repertory Theater became the group rep at the Lonny Chapman Theater in 1999, touting Chapman's motto, first to entertain, then to illuminate the human condition, and never be boring. In 2005, 2 years before his death, Lonny Chapman received Missouri Southern State University's Outstanding Alumni Award, sharing the honor with his best friend, Dennis Weaver.